Hello, everyone. We are so grateful that you are interested in our 2023 Strategic Investment Grant application. I'm Rowena Naidu, Vice President for Policy and Community Initiatives at Mile High United Way, and I have the honor of overseeing our Strategic Investment Grant process. I'm joined today by my wonderful colleague, Megan, who's going to introduce herself and lead us through this presentation. Megan, over to you.
Thanks, Rowena. Hi, everyone, and thank you for considering joining us in this application process. As Rowena said, my name is Megan Quigley, and I get to oversee and work with our SIG partners to and through their application process. And as the Community Investments Senior Manager, I also get to work with our other strategic and investment grants and other grant processes through the year. If you have any questions through this process, please feel free to contact us at any time. We have both a dedicated phone line and then an MHUW grants inbox. Rowena and I both sit on that inbox, so it's a great way to get a hold of both of us. And if you have any questions, please feel free to send them over there. Our process this year has changed slightly, and we will be outlining that further in this application and in this presentation, but our overview and our goals remain the same. So the Strategic Investment Grant Opportunity is our flagship grant making program investing in eligible nonprofit organizations across the 7-county Metro Denver area. These organizations are an extension of our mission in the community. The goal of this opportunity is to focus investments on outstanding organizations whose work aligns with our overarching strategy to provide high quality early childhood education, high quality out of school time programming, access to housing, food, legal services, and tax preparation. And again, the strategic investment grants will be awarded through a competitive and community-driven process. As always, our SIG grants will align with Mile High United Way's community priorities. And these priorities are giving all children a strong start, supporting education and academic success, and creating economic opportunity for all.
As we've done in previous applications, this application has an equity focus. If you've applied to us before, you would have seen the evolution of our learning in this equity space. So our equity journey is reflected in our application. We started off by learning from our organizations about how they were approaching diversity, equity, and inclusion, how organizations were defining those concepts. Most recently, we were looking at how our organizations were including the voices of the people that they serve in their organizations. And that could be whether the voice of the people served was included in who leadership is, who gets included on the board, what programs get to be put out there in service to the community. So really trying to see how the voices of people served echo throughout the work that is being done. This year, we're going to build on all of that and also include representation. We're interested in learning how the decision makers and leaders at your organization are reflecting or representing the community that you're serving. And by leaders and decision makers, we're looking at the executive director, your executive or leadership team, and your board. So how are these groups of leaders and decision makers really reflecting who's receiving your programs and services? We're also trying out a new model. It's called Coordinated Impact. And this is all about synchronizing the efforts of organizations progressing towards a shared community goal. So it's not organizations working on their own towards their own goals. It's organizations coming together, working on their own work towards a shared community goal. We'll talk about that community goal for our different funding categories in a moment. And we're really proud that our organizations came together to help build out those goals. But we're not asking organizations to do anything other than what they're going to be presenting as part of their proposal. We want you to continue doing the good work that's related to your mission, strategic plan, your organizational goals, all the things that your board has approved for you to do and that you'll share as part of your application. We want to explore how your work aligns with and makes progress towards those community goals alongside some of our other partners. We're not looking to create a new coalition or additional work. We're only looking to engage strategic investment grant partners who are going to be funded through this process. And we're only interested in looking at the work of our strategic investment grant partners as we're making progress towards those goals. For organizations that will receive funding, we're going to be doing reporting a little bit differently as well. So instead of organizations submitting a report through our online portal, we're going to be meeting 3 times a year as a cohort group to look at progress, to learn from each other, to be accountable to each other, and to identify capacity building needs. Capacity building will be offered to organizations collectively. For instance, some organizations may require back office evaluation support, and we'll find this out through those 3 meetings, or an organization on their own may require some capacity building support, such as board development. We're looking to try and support as much of those capacity building needs as possible. Coordinated impact means that we're all going to be working together, and we're really proud that our RFP was co-created with approximately 50 nonprofit organizations. Among other things, our organizations contributed to the creation of the goals for each of our funding categories, and they advised on our reporting indicators. So we're excited that we're going to be working side by side with our nonprofit partners who are going to be working side by side with each other.
We will be welcoming any eligible organizations serving in the 7-county Metro Denver community. So this means organizations must be providing direct services within these counties. Organizations may be offering additional services or other opportunities in additional counties, but in order to be eligible, they must be providing direct services in Adams, Arapahoe, Boulder, Broomfield, Denver, Douglas, and Jefferson counties. This will again be a 2-year funding cycle beginning in July of this year and then concluding in June of 2025. Year 1 will span from July 1, 2023 to June 30th, 2024. And year 2 will run from July 2024 to June 30th, 2025. We make this distinction because organizations will be contracted separately between year 1 and year 2. The second year of funding will be contingent both upon available funds and grantee performance. So the grantees must meet all of the requirements outlined in their grant agreement to be eligible for that non-competitive renewal. The strategic investment grants will be awarded through a competitive and community-driven process. When we say competitive, we mean we receive many more applications than we have the capacity to fund. So we are making our best efforts to ensure organizations have the support and opportunity to put forth the most competitive application that their organization can. And we involve the community in this process, both as we've highlighted in our efforts to get their voices into the RFP. We've worked with our partners so far to hear what they're seeing on the ground. We've been influenced by our 211 data. And then we are opening the review process to our community members. So community members who are willing to volunteer their time with us, attend a required training, and then speak to these applications are also welcome to voice their opinions through our process. The funding opportunities that we are having sits underneath the United Way's vision for having a community united to create opportunities for all. So these will include 3 categories of basic needs, out of school time, and early childhood. And then under the category of basic needs, we'll be funding efforts on around access to housing, access to food, legal services, and tax prep. Proposals will be considered for annual funding in the following amounts. So that means what you're requesting for is for annual, not for the 2 years combined. Organizations with an operating budget below $250,000 per year are eligible to apply for up to $10,000 in grant funding. Organizations above 250,000 operating per year can apply for between 25,000 and 75,000. And then our organizations who are eligible to receive child care contribution tax credit dollars can apply for up to $200,000.
We're also looking at priority populations in this application. So we're looking to fund organizations serving at least 75% of individuals in families that are facing an economic hardship and that are living at or below 300% of the most recent federal poverty guidelines. Please refer to our RFP for an overview of the 300% of the most recent federal poverty guidelines. We're also looking to fund organizations serving at least 75% of individuals from historically marginalized communities. Now, historically marginalized communities or communities marginalized systems can be a large group. It's an inclusive group of people. But for the purpose of this RFP, Mile High United Way is prioritizing the following groups and communities: those who identify as BIPOC or Black, Indigenous, and people of color, those who identify as women or girls, people experiencing homelessness, and older adults, so people aged 65 and older.
In order to be eligible for this funding, organizations must meet the following criteria. The organization must qualify as a tax-exempt nonprofit with 501c3 designation and be legally established public entity in good standing with the Colorado Secretary of State. This can also include organizations with fiscal sponsors that meet the 501c3 or public entity eligibility guidelines. The organization must collect basic demographic information on the clients they serve, the services they provide, and the outcomes they are achieving. Organizations must be able to aggregate and analyze data to determine program quality and effectiveness to inform program improvement. Organizations need to be providing direct services and certify that the organization complies with the U.S. Patriot Act. An organization must be governed or advised by a volunteer board and operate in accordance with bylaws. Organizations need to have an annual independent audit for the most recent fiscal year completed by an independent CPA. If an organization's operating budget is under $1 million annually, a completed annual independent review and certified year-end financials as approved by their board chair and executive director may be submitted instead. Organizations should have accounting and financial reporting standards that are in accordance with the generally accepted accounting principles, and again, must be providing services in the 7-county Metro Denver area.
Just as important as what's eligible is what's ineligible, and we really want you to take a look at this slide and make sure that you are not falling into any of these ineligible categories. It could affect your ability to receive funding from us. So if an organization is demonstrating any of the following characteristics, it will render them ineligible to apply for funding through Mile High United Way's Strategic Investment Grant Opportunity for 2023. Organizations that are not tax exempt under the IRS Code 501c3 or not recognized as a legally established public entity. And this includes organizations that do not have a fiscal sponsor that meets these requirements. Organizations that are designated as an IRS private foundation. Organizations or programs that cannot collect basic demographic information on the clients they serve, the services they provide, and the outcomes they achieve. Organizations that do not provide direct services related to our funding priorities. organizations or programs requesting funds to provide direct medical care and/or treatment, organizations that use funds for proselytizing and/or require participation in religious activities in exchange for services. Applications to support direct donations, scholarships, or grants to individuals. Applications to support direct cash assistance, including providing gift cards. And this is where you're providing direct cash assistance to a client. Applications to support endowment funds, applications to support political campaigns, applications for general operating support for K through 12 schools, including charter schools, applications for general operating support for school districts and/or school foundations, and applications for general operating support for government entities. In other words, if you are a K through 12 school, including a charter school, a school district, or a school foundation, or a government entity, please do not apply for general operating support. Please apply for a program and therefore programmatic support. Also ineligible are applications to support field trips, summer camps, summer enrichment programs, one-time performances, or one-time projects and events. If any of these are part of school year-round or full year-round out-of-school time programs, that is perfectly okay. However, if it is a standalone program, like a standalone summer camp or a standalone summer enrichment program or a one-time performance, it's not eligible. It has to be part of school year-round or full year-round programming.
Here is an overview of our timeline for this full application process. On March 25th, we released our RFP, and it can be found on our website. We also opened our application portal. This portal is where organizations can upload financial documents, an overview of their organization, as well as demographic information. We are offering application information sessions currently online through Zoom. And this is an opportunity to get more information and ask questions about the RFP. Starting on April 7th and running through April 18th, we will be also offering an application bootcamp online. And this will be a masterclass on how to prepare for your Zoom call. So here is where we have a slight shift in our application from past years. The narrative piece of your application will be conducted via Zoom on a call with Rowena and myself and our community reviewers. April 21st will be organizations' deadline to sign up for when they want their Zoom call to be. We have the links here, and we'll outline that further later in the presentation as well. But these Zoom calls will fall into 3 different categories of basic needs, out of school time, and early childhood. And April 21st will also be the deadline to upload those financial documents, organization overview, and demographic information into our grant portal. The Zoom calls will be taking place over the span of 6 weeks between April 25th and June 2nd. In June, we will make our final decisions as approved by our Board of Trustees. Organizations will be notified as to the status of their applications, and then we'll start our grant agreement signing process for funding to begin in July of 2023.
So here are these community goals that our nonprofit organizations helped us create for this RFP. The goals are under the funding categories, and those funding categories are under Mile High United Way's vision of a community united to create opportunities for all. There are 3 funding categories: basic needs, out of school time, and early childhood. Under basic needs, we have access to housing, access to food, legal services, and tax preparation. An organization can apply once only, and they have to select either basic needs, out of school time, or early childhood. So again, 1 application per organization, and that organization can select to apply either to basic needs, out of school time, or early childhood. If an organization selects basic needs, they can select up to 2 of those basic needs services to talk about in their application. So either access to housing, access to food, legal services, or tax prep. Select up to 2 of those services to discuss as part of your basic needs application. So I'm going to go through our basic needs category first, and then move on to out of school time and early childhood. Under access to housing, the goal that our nonprofits worked with us to create is that homelessness is preventable, rare, brief, temporary, and non-recurring. If you are applying to this category and for access to housing funding, that means you are willing to work with us to make progress towards this goal as a community. The strategies we're looking to fund under access to housing are keeping people in their homes or sustainable home ownership. And this could be rental assistance or home ownership programs. The second strategy is safety net or immediate needs. And this could be in the form of drop-in centers or drop-in daytime shelters, safe parking initiatives, overnight shelters. And this would include shelter for survivors of domestic violence. The third strategy we're looking to fund is transitional or temporary supportive housing. And this could be in the form of tiny homes, home sharing, or transitional housing. And our fourth strategy of affordable, stable housing or permanent supportive housing could be in the form of permanent supportive housing initiatives and home ownership programs. Here are the indicators that we're looking for organizations to report against when they receive funding. Please take a look at all of the indicators. They are in the application document that was provided along with the RFP. It's really important that you take a look at these and make sure that your organization is able to report on them prior to you applying for funding. This is what we're going to look at as part of your reporting efforts and as part of our progress towards those big goals. So these are your housing indicators here for each of the strategies that we're looking to fund. When it comes to access to food, the big goal that we're looking to make progress toward is that individuals and families have access to nourishing food relevant to their cultural, medical, social, and/or situational needs. Our strategies that we're looking to fund through access to food include food banks and food pantries, and this could be a food bank, a mobile food truck, or community food pantries. The second strategy is meal delivery or congregate meals, such as Meals on Wheels programs or on-site meal service. Food rescue, which would be the gathering of donated and excess food and then distributing that food to families and nonprofits. And finally, safety net or support programs, which would be enrolling eligible individuals in SNAP, WIC, or other supportive safety net programs. And here are the reporting indicators for access to food. Again, please take a look at them and make sure that your organization is able to report on these. For tax preparation, our big goal here is to improve the financial stability of individuals and families, and we're looking to do that through the following strategies. Provide access to free, high-quality tax prep services, help eligible taxpayers claim the tax credits and deductions to which they are entitled, increase financial literacy and help taxpayers build their financial capability, maximize tax refund, and reduce tax liability. Here again are our tax prep reporting indicators. Rounding out our basic needs category is legal services, and our goal here is that individuals and families receive quality legal representation for civil legal issues. Strategies here are providing legal services and legal advocacy services for preventing evictions and foreclosures, accessing benefits, immigration, migrant, and refugee services, addressing education equity, and family, youth, and child stability. And here are the reporting indicators for legal services. A second category is out of school time. The goal here is that children ages 5 through 12 consistently engage in quality out of school time programs year-round or for the duration of the school year. Out of school time programs deliver engaging activities that honor and respond to the needs and interests of participants and community and ensure a physically, emotionally, and socially safe space that supports learning. This strategy here closely aligns with the goal, where out-of-school time organizations deliver engaging programming that honors and responds to the needs and interests of the participants and community and ensures a physically, emotionally, and socially safe space that supports learning. Examples of this could be most out-of-school time programs. For example, reading, math, and digital literacy programs, STEM-focused opportunities, or art-centered opportunities that develop social, life, and creative skills. Again, it's really important that you take a look at the reporting indicators to ensure that your organization is able to report on these. Particularly, we're looking at the number of hours a child receives this quality out of school time programming. And we're looking at those kids who are able to receive at least 75 hours. So please make sure you take a look at these indicators to make sure that your organization can report on them. Our final category is early childhood. And our goal here is that all children up to age 5 flourish through a multifaceted, layered, comprehensive, inclusive, responsive early care and education approach. The strategies we're looking to fund under early childhood are high quality early learning center care, and this would be a licensed child care facility. The second strategy is high quality family, friend, and neighbor care training and support. And this would be intensive training programs that support informal childcare providers. Those would be our families, friends, and neighbors. And then finally, parent and caregiver learning and support. And examples of this would be parents as teachers programs or hippie programs. Here again are the indicators for each of the strategies under early childhood. Please take a look at them.
As mentioned, we will be having an online platform for this application as well as the Zoom calls. This year, we have a new online platform as hosted by Salesforce. So we're very excited to be rolling out our Salesforce grant making. There is an access link within the RFP, and we also have a step-by-step application portal documentation available with the RFP and the application to ensure that all applicants know every step that they need to take in order to sign up for the grant making portal and get all of their required documents uploaded. Even if your organization is already using Salesforce, you will need to create a new unique username and password to access our grant making portal. This is a preview of what the application will look like when you enter the portal and begin an application. You will have the opportunity to review, edit, and change any previously saved and started applications, even if you exit this page. There will also be an area to upload all of your required attachments with an upload button at the bottom of the page. After you upload documents, you will have the opportunity to review them review the ones that have been uploaded and upload additional ones or change anything that's been attached to your application as well. Just like other grant making and application portals, this one will time out if you're idle for too long or sign you out. If this happens, we do recommend checking under the My Applications tab first before starting another new application. This can be especially important if you run into an error or your application closes on accident or anything like that. Please check under My Applications, and your previously started application should be there up to your most recent save point. As mentioned, our platform deadline will be April 21st at 5 p.m. So by that time, you need to create a new Salesforce grant-making login, answer the overview questions about your organization, upload the required financial documentation, and then hit submit. So our team cannot view started applications until they've been submitted. You will receive a confirmation email once your application has been submitted. But please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions or if you want to be sure that we received it. We would much rather receive those questions than not have your application and have you not know it. Additionally, on the 21st, you need to have already selected the date and time of your Zoom call. This is outside of the Salesforce grant-making platform, and it will be on Signup Genius. When you fill up that Signup Genius form, please be sure to share the names of the people that will be joining your Zoom call from your team, as these names will be the only people we will be allowing into the Zoom call. Now we have some more information about the Zoom sessions. This is a screenshot of how the Zoom links appear in our RFP. So as we've mentioned, the Zoom dates are broken out into the 3 different categories of basic needs: out of school time and early childhood. Please be sure to follow these links to the Signup Genius to select your desired time. This is what a Signup Genius will look at. So here we'll see these are all basic needs calls occurring on May 1st. There are time slots available at 9, 10, noon, 1 p.m., 2 p.m., and 3 p.m. Because we have 3 different Signup Genius pages, please be sure to check the top of the page to make sure you are on the correct category. These are screenshots of what those top pages look like. Each one does say if you are on basic needs, OST, or ECE. The Zoom call will be no longer than 30 minutes, and this will also include 5 to 10 minutes of reviewer questions. Up to 4 members from your team can participate on this call. So that could be grant staff, programmatic staff, your executive team, board members, or a past client or current client if appropriate. Please understand that our intention here is to not overexpose or re-traumatize any clients. However, if you have a graduate or a past client who really loves being a champion for your work, we would love to hear from them. Mile High United Way can provide translation services if notified ahead of time. However, if your organization has someone who can serve as a translator for you, and that someone is familiar with your organization, the language and culture of your work, then they are welcome to serve as your translator instead. Our SIG community reviewers will be listening to the call, but they will be anonymized and off camera. So they will be muted, their Zoom names will be changed, and they will not be on camera. They will be submitting all of their questions through the chat to the host. So the applying organization will not be disrupted or see those come through. The conversation on Zoom will be between your staff and ours. Rowena and I will be asking the narrative questions one at a time. These questions will be the same for all organizations within the category that you select and match those in the application document. So all applicants will have access to the questions ahead of time and be able to prepare their responses before coming to the call. Once your organization answers the questions, your team will leave the call. Our community reviewers will stay on the call and share with us their feedback, their scores against the rubric, and we will capture all of that and take that into consideration when making our recommendations for funding.
Thank you so much for taking the time to go through this presentation. We are so excited to receive your narrative explanation of your organization over Zoom. We're excited to hear from you and other members of your team. Know that we and the reviewers who will be sitting in are rooting for you. We really want you to be successful through this process. If anything comes up for you, if you have questions, you want to talk through anything, please reach out to us using our dedicated phone line and our dedicated email. We wish you everything of the best in this application process. And again, we look forward to hearing from you. Take good care, everybody. Bye-bye.